breaking news coming in from Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka Speaker appoints Ranil as the acting president. Ranil Wickremesinghe has been appointed as the acting president. Remember, this comes even before President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has formally resigned. The formal resignation has not come in as yet, which is what has irked the population at large in Sri Lanka. But yet, the Speaker has taken the decision to appoint Ranil Wickremesinghe as the acting president. This is precisely what it appears that the people of Sri Lanka are right now condemning, that even before the resignation that's come in formally of Gotabaya Rajapaksa, here is Ranil Wickremesinghe, who's been appointed as the acting president of this country. Sri Lanka Speaker now appoints Ranil as the acting president. In fact, we're looking at Gotabaya Rajapaksa at a point when he was cornered by the population, the citizens of Sri Lanka, his own people. He decided to flee the country, got on a military plane with his wife. 2 bodyguards has landed in Maldives. At this point, he's currently lodged there. He's literally run away from the situation that prevails in the country, a huge economic meltdown where basic necessities, resources in absolute scarcity for the people of Sri Lanka. Food has become a task for them to access. No money in the country at this point. There's a huge demand, barely any money or power to purchase, expenses skyrocketing. At this point, the poor in Sri Lanka, largely most of the population in fact, right now completely blown and affected by this huge economic meltdown. At this point, the President has decided to flee the country, while now the Speaker has stepped in to appoint Ranil Wickremesinghe, the acting interim President in the meanwhile. Now, will this really help the situation at this point in Sri Lanka? That remains to be seen. But President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was indeed supposed to resign, and that resignation was to come today, the 13th of July. That was the assurance and promise that Gotabaya Rajapaksa had given. And once Gotabaya had resigned, as per the Sri Lankan constitution, the Prime Minister is ideally sworn in as the interim President until the Parliament elects a candidate from among its members. So it appears now the Speaker has decided that Ranil Wickremesinghe will be the acting President until the situation settles and there's a formal election. In fact, this is the situation in Sri Lanka at this point. The Speaker had to step in, looking at the crisis. A huge meltdown, economic meltdown that's resulted in frustrated citizens coming to the streets, condemning the regime that was, the government that was run by the Rajapaksas. At this point, they're feeling completely let down. The citizens, all the more making it worse, was President Rajapaksa, who literally fled the country on a military plane, has now landed in Maldives to try and seek some kind of refuge. At this point, he's claimed threat to his life. He and his wife, 2 of his bodyguards, all of them have flown down to Maldives with the help of, it appears, senior leaders of the Maldivian government. At this point, the Rajapaksas have taken some kind of safety in Maldives, while people there storm into the President's palace, and all kinds of arson that we've reported to you right here on our screens with citizens of Sri Lanka there. Quite violent at this point, despite the military being in large numbers present there all across Colombo. It appears that citizens have overpowered, outnumbered the military. It's also difficult for the military now to clamp down on these agitators, considering sentiments, emotions running high because of desperation. Even the military quite clearly there understands that at this point Sri Lankan people have barely any food to feed their family. They are in a very desperate situation, and out of frustration and anger they're out on the streets. Military also handling this situation very carefully, not using any brute force, but of course trying with their presence and patience there to calm the situation, but seems like it's so far gone out of hand. Remember, this has gone on for over 2 months now, and yet doesn't seem like the government had any formula or solution to stabilize the situation. At least in the last 2 months, it's gotten only worse. And now, with the Speaker appointing Ranil Wickremesinghe as the acting President, doesn't seem like that's going to settle the situation for the moment now for people of Sri Lanka. In fact, they're further infuriated, agitated with the fact that Gotabaya Rajapaksa himself has fled the country, and they believe that this entire process of an interim president at this point is just a facade. People of Sri Lanka now absolutely angry, and in fact, out of desperation, many of them indulging in violence as well. Those are the live visuals that we see here. India Today is only a team of reporters who are on ground bringing you all the latest visuals. In fact, you see citizens on one hand, many of them indulging in violence, on the other, many trying to peacefully protest, holding up flags of Sri Lanka, showing their nationalism and the love for the country, also asking for a solution with immediate effect. And to start with, they want Gotabaya Rajapaksa to resign at the earliest. Not happy with Ranil Wickremesinghe now stepping in as interim president. This, of course, has only inflamed emotions at this point, as we see. Let me quickly cut across to Geeta Mohan, joining us right from the newsroom. Geeta, a quick analysis on the situation right here. Speaker now decides to jump in, has appointed Ranil Wickremesinghe as the acting president. Does this stabilize the situation for the moment, or does it make it even worse? Because we see citizens aren't very happy with this solution.
Well, at the end of the day, the fact is that there is a major trust deficit, and that cannot be filled up or covered up by the kind of taking over from one leader to the other. And we see that swell of support or protest, so to say, against the leadership, any kind of leadership. That's why one is also asking whether if an all-party government would really be acceptable to the country or not. Having said that, Ranil Wickremesinghe for now is the acting president, and we will again have to wait and see how he is going to steer the nation to a point where there will be a working government, an acting all-party government that could really then look at pulling the country out of the crisis. The protests that you see are because neither Rajapaksas, initially we thought it was the Rajapaksas who were absolutely unacceptable to the people, and Ranil Wickremesinghe, a more acceptable candidate to lead the country out of the crisis. But now it just seems like because the entire administration where Ranil Wickremesinghe was brought in by the Rajapaksa government is the reason why the trust deficit continues. They continue to protest, they're protesting, and the massive crowd that you see, the tear gas shelling that you're seeing to dispel the crowd is certainly making things worse. Now, what is going to happen in the next 24 to 48 hours is absolutely crucial. We do know that once Gotabaya Rajapaksa, now this is again an appointment that is being made without a confirmation of Gotabaya Rajapaksa having tendered his resignation. He said that he was to tender his resignation on the 13th. But now, shifting goalposts, Gotabaya or sources from media in Sri Lanka have said that he will tender his resignation once he reaches his final destination. He's right now in the Maldives, and that's not his final destination. What we're given to understand is that Dubai is his final destination. So, without having tendered his resignation, we are looking at an acting president who's been put in place. And the reason why this trust deficit, the problems and the questions that the people of Sri Lanka are asking continues. And it is not going to stop till there is some semblance of a government that actually will be looking at pulling out the country out of the crisis. Sajith Premadasa is going to be a very important man and key to how the new all-party government will be formed, because he certainly is going to push to become the new president. But he, in a statement, in an interview to a media network in Sri Lanka, has already said that he will only pitch for presidentship once Gotabaya Rajapaksa puts in his papers or resigns, and that really has not happened. So the transition is happening among the people who themselves think that they can appoint a Prime Minister as acting president, but it has not happened through due process. Now, due process would be once Gotabaya Rajapaksa puts in his papers, then the others will be staking claim. Now, we will again have to see whether if Ranil Wickremesinghe, or for that matter Sajith Premadasa, have the numbers and support of all the MPs. We're looking at the Parliament over here to really appoint an acting president.
Right.